Hi, welcome to New Thought Tuesdays.
Welcome to New Thought Tuesdays. Singers, can you guide your thoughts with the same technical precision you use to stay on pitch? Well, you know us at New Thought Tuesdays. We're all about creatives. So welcome to New Thought Tuesdays. Rich Smith and I are going to talk today about right thinking. You know, the entertainment business can provide many opportunities for frustration, conflict, ego, and at very least attitude. So our ability to stay balanced and mindful and optimistic in the midst of the challenges of work is essential. So today, we're going to show you how to slowly and gently nudge your thinking in the direction of a positive, successful, and abundant life, even when things around you are going what appears to be awry.
Yeah.
And hey, and if your life is positive, successful, and abundant, this conversation will bring you to more positivity, more success, and more abundance. Yes. So today, Rich, our topic today is, today I uncover the perfection within me in all its fullness.
Right. And I should mention that we base our discussions on Ernest Holmes' 365, Science of Mind.
Yes.
We get our cue from there. So
Yes.
that's what we're going to use today.
Yep. So what Dr. Holmes actually says is, he says, who would not be successful in the true sense of the term? I mean, who doesn't want that? For there is no success without happiness and a sense of certainty. There is something eternal about success. There's no grief in success, because one who is truly successful is no longer sad. The person who knows the things of this world are temporary, but the treasure is, as Dr. Holmes calls it, in heaven. This treasure cannot be found while one is a slave to the objective kind of appearances or lacks in life. And if one lacks control over one's thought, like you have a sense of lack, limitation, and not havingness in your life, you have to have a sense of certainty.
Yeah.
And all of this means that success, even in our objective undertakings, depends first of all upon stability of mind, consistency of purpose, and concentration of effort. He says that the kingdom of heaven is already and always within us. It's in our very DNA. It's in our soul. It's in our essence. The priceless pearl, he says, is covered by the hardening shell of experience. So we have this heaven in us, and perhaps it's been a little bit hardened by our experience out in the world. And we have to learn to see good at the center of our being. He concludes with an affirmation that we'll go to later on today. But Rich, this idea of
Really speaks to me. It really does. This whole idea of success. And, you know, one thing I have to admire about my wife is that she feels like she's always successful. She's always praising these little jobs and things that she gets. And whereas I, on the other hand, have this big vision. And if it's not the big vision, I don't feel successful.
Yeah.
And because she sees these little things, you know, she had a class today and there was only like 5 people. She used to have 20, 25 people in her classes before COVID. But she's excited about it. She says,
Sure.
It's great. This is a prototype for success. My business is building back up again. So looking at the good, focusing on the good, and fool yourself into believing that you are successful, then you'll talk about your success, you'll act successful, and more success will come to you. And so
Well,
that's
I
the
think
challenge that I have.
there is a sense of, quote, fooling yourself into. So from a psychological standpoint, yes, you may be fooling yourself into it. But as we talked about earlier, we're going to help you tap yourself just thought by thought into a sense of certainty and centeredness. That idea of fooling yourself into it is also, from a spiritual standpoint, is seeing the truth that is there, that your outlining of what it is that you are wanting in the ultimate does not negatively impact or reflect upon the truth of the goodness that is around you. And our knowing and our belief is that as you focus on that goodness expands.
Yeah. As
you focus on that goodness, the goodness expands. And so, as we've mentioned before, the idea of being, I don't know, whether you're in a rehearsal, where you're rehearsing with an orchestra, or you're on a film set, or you're on a stage, wherever you are in the entertainment industry, the idea is to be creative. And that idea of, as we said earlier, that egos can slip in and attitudes can slip in. And essentially, it's just fear slipping in. So whether you're on a film, I was not on a film set yesterday, but I was having quite a day yesterday. Yesterday was a bit of a challenge. Rich and I got together at the end of the day, and it's like, I have had to stop and say, how is this happening for me so many times today? And every once in a while, it was like, it's not happening for me at all. So even when you're studied in these things, when you have a sense of these ideas, you have to give yourself the room to feel your emotions and feel the situation around you, and know where the clarity and the certainty of your goodness is. And that's where Ernest Holmes talks about that idea of heaven. Now, in New Thought, Ancient Wisdom teachings, the idea of heaven is not an outside kind of thing. It's an inside awareness. And so that inside awareness of heaven is with you no matter what's going on, no matter what's coming at you from a colleague, or what your emotions are driving you into from within. There is a sense of heaven that you can focus on. So the simplest way to go about it, and again, this is my living in concert with life kind of theorem or practice, is, how is this happening for me? Just take a beat. Some people, I love to encourage people to breathe. Or I was watching something online, and the guy was even saying, hey, I'm not going to even ask you to breathe today. Just feel what you're feeling right now and know that it's all right. This feeling will be here. It will pass. Some other feeling will come again. And your sense of heaven, in our terminology, cannot be shaken. So that's where we're starting off today, about this sense of uncovering that really fulfilledness in you, that fulfilled quality in you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Dean, for spelling that out. I want to get back to something here. I want to get back to the fooling yourself, because, we'll use my wife for an example.
Right.
Fools herself into believing that she's successful, even though it's not the big vision of what she sees for success in her life. That puts her in the vibration of being happy, joyful, attracting more success to her. Because I think infinite intelligence is successful and looks at our life as we are successful. Why can't we look at our life as if we are successful right here and right now? Then that fear, doubt, and worry, that anxiety because you're not where you want to be, and successfully wise, I don't know. To me, to be in that vibration of joy and happiness all the time, because because you're so sure that you know that you're one with this divine presence. You know that it's working in and as and through you, and everything's unfolding in perfect order. And you start to see it. It starts to unfold in perfect order. So those times when you have to say, why is this or how is this happening for me, become less and less and less. That big vision of success, you get closer and closer and closer to it, because you're not sitting there going, oh, geez, this didn't happen. Why can't I get this? Or why am I not successful? Or why didn't I manifest this, or whatever it is? And if you sit in that vibration, that's going to get you nowhere. So I like the whole idea of fake it till you make it. No, act as if you have. So you maybe
Act as
see
if.
if you're not acting
Yep.
successful with 5 people in your class, then you're going to be successful. You
Yeah.
feel successful. You feel good. You feel joy. You feel happiness. And I have a challenge with that sometimes. I got to say, thank God I have my wife who is there to keep bringing me back to the thing that, hey, everything is good. It's all perfect. Life is great. And so, yeah. So
Well,
anyway, that's my
and no,
take.
it's great to have a support system, a system of like-minded folks who know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
There are times when, well, when you have a support system around you, you also need to be open to accepting that support.
Yeah.
Yes, I get it. I'm not feeling it right now, but I get it. I appreciate that. That's one of the great things about the New Thought Tuesdays community, is when we can talk about what's going on, and then talk about the demonstrations that are happening, those unfoldment of miracles that are happening in our lives. It gives that, just the very conversation about it, this very conversation today, Rich, that you and I have, and that we're going to have with our folks after this recording, it brings out that focus on divine wisdom, of infinite intelligence, of fake it till you make it, act as if. It brings these concepts together so we can experience and express them and share them with one another and see how they're working in each other's lives.
Yeah.
I know, as I said yesterday, it was a Monday. It was just unfolding. It's like, okay, I'm going to pull the covers back over my head. And all the way, I just kept breathing. I used my spiritual practice. Even when I was, I really recognized the perfection that was going on, even though my response was one of discord. And so I had discordant feelings, and so be it. I was feeling feelings and understanding them and feeling them and accepting them and seeing what was going on around me and knowing that I'm on my perfect path. And that is, I think, at least for me, that series of awarenesses really helps to make each day even more and more successful in everything that I do, in my private practice, with living in concert with life, with my clients, with my organizational clients, in my home, with the caregiving that's going around here, and in my marriage. It's being able to take a breath and know that which is coming at you that appears to be negative is not your source, and that there is a positive source within me, in my soul, that inner heaven, if you will, that I can constantly and do constantly draw on, even if it's a little begrudgingly.
Yeah. Let's talk about that pearl of great price that Ernest Holmes talks about, that's covered over by misconceptions. I forget exactly what the quote is, if you have it.
He said the priceless pearl is covered, meaning heaven, is covered by the hardened shell of experience.
Yeah.
We must learn to see good at the center of our being.
Exactly. And that's where the kingdom of heaven is. That's where the pearl of great price is. It's within you. It's within each and every one of us. And we can access that by not paying attention or buying into this illusion of these things that are going on in life that aren't the way we want them to be.
Oh, yeah.
Such as the success.
Yes.
If I buy into this whole thing that I'm not where I thought I would be, today, 5 years ago, then that can get me down. I just have to focus on the pearl of great price that I'm growing and I'm becoming more of. We were talking with our coach last night. We do these prayer treatments every night. And we were talking how that we're evolving into something greater all the time. We're always spiraling up. So if you're focusing on the down spiral, the things that aren't going the way you want, then you're not going up the spiral. You're not becoming more of who you're meant to be. You're not allowing that divine presence within to express itself in infinite and unlimited ways, because you're not allowing the spiral up. We're growing into our greater selves.
That spiraling up, it's a wonderful vision. It's a wonderful image, that idea of forward movement, upward movement, which is just an idea. It's just a concept, just like God and good and heaven are just concepts. But it is uplifting in our feelings, in our senses, and then it becomes outpictured in our actions. That and what we had said, that spiraling up. What we wanted to, one of the things that we've been talking about, and I want to get a little bit more into it microscopically, is that a gentle nudge. You don't have to go from, oh, woe is me, to life is great in one big sweet bound. I mean, it's great if you can authentically do that. If you have the training, the spiritual practice and awareness to do that, that's great. But, sometimes, as I've said before, when you're feeling down and troubled and you need a helping hand, it is an increased higher vibration to get a little bit angry about how depressed you are. It's not where I'd have you to live, but to be in, I'm so depressed. I cannot believe how depressed I am. This is just ticking me off. Well, that anger is a higher vibration from that depression. And you keep slowly, I use something that I call an emotional zip line to move from that idea of, okay, here's where I'm feeling now, and I want to feel an elevated, I want to feel in a sense of love and joy and upliftment, but I'm not right there right now. So you can feel the next higher emotion. And if you'd like one of these, my emotional zip line, just send me an email at dean@deanregan.com.
Yeah.
That's my email address. I'll be glad to send you a copy of my emotional zip line. It just outlines.
It takes you from like anger to
Yes,
fear.
the small steps, small steps.
And you work, and I guess what you do and what I do too is you work with the client, bringing them to that level of consciousness that raises them up the zip line. And before they know it, they're up at the top. We're feeling good. Life is good. Everything's working in perfect order.
And the zip line that I work with,
right,
really, takes you from, whether it's jealousy or insecurity or guilt, moving you up to go from hatred to sadness. I'd rather be in sadness than hatred. Hatred is an outpicturing of a negative activity towards somebody else. I'd rather that energy be close at hand at sadness. And if you could go from hatred to revenge, I have a feeling of revenge, it's a higher elevation of awareness to go to sadness, and then just move to anger, not anger at someone else, but anger at what that sadness that you're feeling. And you can go to blame and to worry and to doubt, and you can go up to disappointment and overwhelm and frustration, and work your way up to boredom, and then move from boredom to a sense of contentment. And there's a shift there from boredom to contentment, to actual hopefulness. Now, obviously, just by telling you this, it's not going to happen. It's just an awareness that we're talking about today. And this is what we work with in New Thought Tuesdays. This is what we work with our clients. So
this is why we have the community.
This is why we have the community. Speaking of which, sir, I think it's about time for us to go into the community.
Yep.
Anything before I go into our final affirmation for today?
No, I think
No.
we're good. I think we covered everything.
Okay,
Let's
well,
get
if you're
another
watching this,
conversation, too.
if you're, yes, I'm loving it. If you're watching this on social media, please know that if you want to become part of our conversations, you can go to newthoughttuesdays.com and get a reminder, sign up for a reminder. We'll send you the link to join our Zoom meeting, and we love meeting our community there every Tuesday. So go to newthoughttuesdays.com, sign up for a reminder, and you'll be able to come in and join this conversation each week.
Yeah. So if you're feeling a little less than, not like you're not as successful as you want to be or whatever, come and join us for this conversation.
Come and join us.
Tuesdays.com and get the link.
Dr. Holmes concludes his writing with an affirmation. Today, I'm going to read it over here. Today, I uncover the perfection within me. In its fullness, I reveal the indwelling kingdom. I look out upon the world of my affairs, knowing that the spirit within me makes me both immediate and easy, makes my way both immediate and easy. For I know that it is not I, but the Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the work. All right.
Awesome.
Well, we're going to go into conversation right now.
Okay.
We will see you at next New Thought Tuesdays, and people who are in the Zoom room, we will bring you into the conversation in just a sec.
Okay. I'm going to stop all the recordings. One moment, please. Give me a second.